Good morning. I love the story out of Mark chapter 1. It's a great story where there's this beautiful interaction of Jesus with Jesus and these two sets of brothers. The day starts out where these two sets of brothers, James and John and Andrew and Peter, went fishing. They were fishermen by trade. And so, like any other morning, they would get up, they would go out early in the morning, go fishing, and they would then bring their haul into the shore, and they would spend the later part of the morning and early afternoon mending their nets and getting their boat ready for the next day of fishing. And so they lived in this remote fishing village in the middle of nowhere by the Sea of Galilee. And their day, well, probably started out like any other day until it wasn't. Jesus came walking by the shore, Mark tells us, the shoreline, and he happens upon Simon, that is Peter and Andrew, and he says to them, "Come, follow me." And it says that they immediately left their nets and followed Jesus. And Jesus gave them a purpose. He said, "I will make you fishers of men." And then it said he went down the shoreline a little further and ran into James and John, who were with their dad, Zebedee. And he says the same thing to them. "Come, follow me." Every day, well, sometimes can start out like any other day until it's not. Until you hear the whisper of Jesus saying, "Come, follow me." For many of us, we heard that whisper the first time we came to faith. Maybe we experienced God through his mercy and his grace in our lives, or through a traumatic event, and we heard that whisper, "Come, follow me." Maybe you've been hearing that whisper of God, "Come, follow me." I just want to say it'll change the whole trajectory of your life. For these two sets of brothers, I don't think they had any idea what was going to happen over the next 3 years, culminating in the crucifixion and resurrection of Jesus. And then their commission to go make fishers of men. And you think about the whole of history for the next 2,000 years, what began in this remote little fishing village off the Sea of Galilee began a revolution of the heart, a revolution of people answering that same call of Jesus to come, follow me. So I want to encourage you today, lean in, listen to the whisper of Jesus telling you to follow him today. Follow him as he takes you through your day, through all your interactions with your family and with coworkers and people you meet at the store. People need to hear that same voice. And it's our privilege and honor to have the same purpose, which is to make fishers of men and women. That we go after them, to bring them the love of Jesus, to introduce them, to connect them with God. And we do that through just our relationships that we have, our interactions. So lean in, listen today to the voice of Jesus leading you and I. Come, follow me. Remember, today may start out as any other day until it's not. God bless you guys.